Shabbat Shalom and good afternoon, everyone. Kate's Torah portion, which she's going to teach us a little bit about shortly, is the story of Noah and his ark. And I feel like that's a little bit relevant to us today because a few of us are here in this sanctuary in our little ark. But the important thing about Noah's ark was that there was a window at the top so that the light from outside could come in. And even though there are only a few of us in this sanctuary, we are seeing on the Zoom screen the light in the eyes and the smiles of all of the people that love Kate. So I want to give first a very extra special shout out to Billy, who's in Alaska with Jeremy and Kirsten and Mackie and Kuiper, and also to Billy's grandpa Milton, and also to say hello to Billy's aunts and uncles, Liza and Evan, Ava and David, and Kate's cousins, Evan, Lucy, Liza, Nate, Sam, Elliot, Lee and Shona, Allison, and Jeff and family. So Julia and Darren and Kate, if you want to turn around and give everybody a big wave before we get started, send them a kiss. On the Zoom screen, you can just give them a wave. No?
They cannot see her at this point, but yes, eventually.
They can't see them. Okay. So we're good. We're going to get started. Have a seat. It's all good. We're going to start with Ashrae. I'm not so clear about what the cameras are, apparently. I'm good at being a rabbi, but not so good at knowing where the cameras are. Okay, Ashrae is on page 214. Ashrae yoshvei vetecha, uri halalu chasela.
Ashrae am shekach lo, Ashrae am she'Adonai Eloha.
Tehila leDavid aromimcha Elohai hamelech, v'avarcha shimcha leolam va'ed.
V'chol yamav archeka, v'alela shimcha leolam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai umulav me'od, v'ligdulato en cheker.
דור לדור ישבח מעשיך, גבורותיך יגידו.
הדר כבוד הודיך, ודברי נפלותיך השיחה.
וזוד נורותיך יאמרו, גדולתך אספרנה.
זכר רב טובך יביאו, וצדקתך ירננו.
חנון ורחום אדוני, ערך אפיים וגדול חסד.
טוב אדוני לכל, ורחמיו על כל מעשיו.
יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך, וחסידיך יברכוך.
כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, גבורתך ידברו.
להודיע לבני האדם גבורותיו, וכבוד הדר מלכותו.
מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל תור ודור.
סומך לכל הנופלים, וזוקף לכל הכפופים.
אין יכול עליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אכלם בטוב.
פותח את ידיך, ומשפיע לכל חי רצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לכל קוראיו, לכל אשר יקראו באמת.
רצון יראיו יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל רשעים ישמיד.
תהילת אדוני ידבר פיו, יברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד.
ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם, הללויה.
We continue with Chatzi Kaddish on page 217. If you're able, please rise. Page 217.
If you're using Sim Shalom, it's on page 564.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועמד יברח ירתה, וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב, אמרו אמן. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach, Le'olam Olamei Amayah.
יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לאלה מן כל ברכתה, ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, אמירן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן.
Please remain standing as we begin the Torah service, and I want to invite Kate up to help us lead the Torah service. We're on page 218, or in Sim Shalom, page 566.
ואני תפילתי לך אדוני את רצון, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, ענני באמת אישך. קומה אדוני ויפוצו אויביך וינוסו משנאיך מפניך כי מציון תצא תורה כי מציון תצא תורה ודבר אדוני מירושלים ברוך שנתן תורה תורה ברוך שנתן תורה תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו. ציון תצא תורה ודבר אדוני מירושלים כי מציון תצא תורה ודבר אדוני מירושלים.
You may be seated. So in the afternoon service, you get a sneak preview of the Parsha for next week. Kate is going to be reading from Parshat Noach. If you have an Eitz Chaim at home, it is on page 41. ותגלה ותראה מלכותו עלינו בזמן קרוב, ויכון פליטתנו פליטת עמו בית ישראל, לכנו לחסד ורחמים ורצון, ונאמר אמן. הכל הבו גודל אלוהים תנו כבוד לתורה. תעמוד יעל בת חנה ויוסף לעלייה הראשונה. ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו, ואתם הדבקים באדוני אלוהיכם, חיים כולכם היום. For the first Aliyah, we're going to call up Kate's mom, Julia.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. So.
Eilech toldot Noach, Noach, איש צדיק, תמים היה בדורותיו, את האלוהים התהלך נוח, ויולד נוח 3 בנים, את שם, את עם ואת יפת, ותשחט הארץ לבני האלוהים. את הארץ והנה נשחטה,
ותמלא הארץ.
ותמלא הארץ.
Hang on, let me help her find.
Yeah, but
Okay, fine.
ותמלא הארץ המס, וירא אלוהים את הארץ, והנה נשחטה, כי השחית כל בשר את דרכו על הארץ. ויאמר אלוהים לנוח, קץ כל בשר בא לפני, כי מלאה הארץ המס מפניהם, והנני משחיתם את הארץ. עשה לך תיבת עצי גופר, קינים תעשה את התיבה, וחפרת אותה מבית ומחוץ בכופר. וזה אשר תעשה אותך 300 אמה, אורך התיבה 50 אמה רוחבה, ו30 אמה קומתה. צוחר תעשה לתיבה, ואל אמה תכלנה ממעלה, ופתע התיבה בצידה תשים, תחתים 32 יהיו. תעשה.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chaye olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. For the second Aliyah, we're going to call up Julia's dad. We're going to call up Kate's dad, Darren. Yamod Doron ben Meir Dvora la'Aliyah Shniha.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
ואני הנני מביא את המבול מים על הארץ, לשחט כל בשר אשר בו רוח חיים מתחת השמיים, כל אשר בארץ יקבע. והקימותי את בריתי איתך, ובאת אל התיבה אתה ובניך ואשתך ונשי בניך איתך, ומכל חי מכל בשר, שניים מכל, תביא אל התיבה, לך חיות איתך, זכר ונקבה יהיו. ברכו את אדוני. Oh, sorry.
Still Darren.
It's my turn.
Kate, I know Kate's just about to be an adult, so she's getting right in there, but that's Darren.
That's right. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata betokenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Okay, so Kate, we're actually now going to ask you to sit down.
Sorry, what was that?
You're going to go sit down. I'll tell you why in a minute. You're going to go sit. Have a seat. Because although you have read Torah very ably up till now, this right here is the big moment. Because until you become bat mitzvah, you do not have the honor of taking the Aliyah, of saying the brachot, saying the blessings before and after the Torah. That is reserved for adult members of the Jewish community, of which you are just about to become one. So I'm going to call you up with a special bracha, and then you're going to come up and say the bracha, okay? Here we go. Tamod, 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 habachura, Fanya batoron v'yael, shlishit chizki. Now it's your turn. Come on up.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
מהעוף למיניהו, ומן הבהמה למינך. Excuse me. I lost my place. So, oh no, I got it back. מהעוף למיניהו, ומן הבהמה למינך, מכל רמס האדמה למיניהו, שניים מכל, יבואו אליך לך חיות, ואתה קח לך מכל מאכל אשר יאכל, ויסבת אליך, והיה לך ולהם לאכלה. ויעש נוח ככל אשר ציווה אותו, אלוהים כן עשה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. So Kate is now going to close and cover the Torah. And as she's doing that, we are going to say a very special blessing to acknowledge that we have arrived at this incredible moment of Kate becoming a counting adult member of the Jewish community. Please join us in the Shechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
That this is a particularly very special Shechianu for me because I was there when Kate was born and received her name, and now I cannot believe that she is standing here looking so beautifully, beautifully grown up. It is really quite something. So I just wanted to add that. Okay, we're going to say V'zot Torah, which is on page 220 or page 570.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה.
So Julia and Darren, you can sit down now so that you can be wowed by the amazing teaching that Kate is about to offer about Parshat Noach. So Kate, you can take out your Davar Torah and get started whenever you're ready.
First of all, I would just like to say thank you all for being here. Okay. The story of Noah begins with the Torah telling us that Noah was a righteous man who walked with God. At the time, the world was a corrupt place filled with violence. God told Noah that God was going to wipe everyone off the face of the earth with a flood because God was so fed up with all the chaos. God commanded Noah to build an ark for himself, his wife, and his sons and their wives to save them. God also instructed Noah to bring 2 of every living creature, 1 male and 1 female, and that is exactly what he did. As I said before, the Torah mentions 3 things about Noah. He walked with God, in his generation he was above reproach, and he was a righteous man. Some synonyms of righteous are good, virtuous, decent, and worthy. The question here is, what does the Torah mean when it says that Noah is righteous? This problem also mattered to the rabbis and the Jews of the past. Nachmanides, a medieval scholar, tells us that Noah was neither a person of violence nor a person who cheated and lied. He did not participate in the cult of astrology, enchantment, and soothsaying, nor did he worship idols. He walked with God. According to Nachmanides, Noah is not righteous. Rashi, another medieval scholar, said that Noah was only righteous in his generation, but not actually a righteous person. In any other generation, Noah would not stand out. Rashi thinks Noah is only righteous in relation to his generation. According to the Zohar, which is a book of mystical texts, Noah was out to save himself and his family. He did not intervene or speak up for the people of his generation when he was told that they would be destroyed. While the Torah says that Noah was a righteous man, the Zohar explains that he was selfish because he only saved himself and his family. Since Noah did not warn his generation about the flood, he is clearly not a lover of human beings, except for his family members. The Zohar does not think that Noah is righteous at all. I personally agree with the Zohar. I do not think that Noah or his actions were righteous because he was selfish. He only cared about saving himself and his family. Noah had a chance to go and warn the people, but he did not. Although some might argue that he was righteous because he did what God wanted, because they think that following God's rules is being righteous. My take on this is that being righteous should be not only in the eyes of God, being righteous should also be being a good person with decent values and morals, such as saving other people. By this measure, Noah was not righteous. Maybe there is another way of looking at Noah's righteousness, though. If God hadn't been able to trust Noah, then all of humankind might have been destroyed. According to the Torah, Noah is the reason that we exist today. In a way, you could argue that he was righteous because he did what he had to do to continue the human race. Using this argument, Noah was righteous for a very practical reason. He saved humanity. But it seems to me that morality and ethics are even more important in defining righteousness. I think Noah would have been more righteous if he had spoken up for other people. Noah's story can make us ask the question, when is it the right thing to do what we are told, and when is it the right thing to speak up? For instance, when it comes to wearing masks, the righteous thing to do is to simply wear them. When it comes to voting, the right thing to do is to exercise our rights as citizens and go to the polls. On the other hand, when racial justice is occurring, as it is now, the right thing may not be to do as we are told, but instead to raise our voices in peaceful protest. I hope the story of Noah will inspire us to think about when we can do the right thing by listening and when we can do the right thing by speaking out. Shabbat Shalom and Shavua Tov.
Shikach, beautiful. So Kate,
Yes.
even though I'm 25 feet away from you, I'm going to offer you a few words of blessing now. You don't have to do anything. Just stand there and listen, okay? Vishaberach avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, v'imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless you, Kate, as you have come forward this day to the reading of the Torah in recognition of your desire to live a worthy Jewish life. You wrote so thoughtfully about Noah in your Parsha, and it made me think that there are actually a number of interesting connections between you and Noah. First of all, God asks Noah to build the ark from scratch with nothing more than instructions that, when you read them, are about as confusing as an IKEA desk, only a lot bigger. And Noah does it successfully. I would like to think that if you had been Noah, Kate, that you would also have succeeded in building the ark, because you, Kate, are an extremely crafty person. You're great at creating things with your hands, at knowing how to turn materials into beautiful, well-built objects and works of art. In addition, the rabbis teach that when Noah was on the ark, his most important job was taking care of the animals all day long, and that through this action, Noah learned to become a more compassionate person. And like Noah, you, Kate, are also an animal person who lovingly cares for Pebble, Inky, and Phoebe. And like Noah, you have grown up to become a young woman of great sensitivity and gentleness, someone who treats other people, whether it is your young cousin Elliot, your friends, or your grandparents, and sometimes even your parents, with love and compassion. But perhaps the most important connection between you and Noah, Kate, is that Noah's experience on the ark enables him to cultivate the quality of determination. He builds the ark, he waits out the 40 days of rain, and he doesn't even give up when the raven comes back without any sign of land. Noah is able to restart the human race because of his perseverance. And Kate, you are also a person who does not give up easily in the face of a challenge. And I have been honored to watch this quality develop in you as you have grown up. Finally, I would like to think that Noah also possessed your other outstanding quality, Kate, which is your fun-loving, game-playing, silly spirit. And who knows, maybe in the evenings on the ark, they played Scrabble, did the Sunday spelling bee, and watched ridiculous TikTok videos all night long. Could be, we don't know, they don't say. So as you stand here today, Kate, at the beginning of your journey into Jewish adulthood, I want to wish for you that you find ways to use your hands to bring beauty into the world, that you continue to lovingly care for God's creatures, both human and otherwise, that you never lose your wonderful sense of fun, and that you use your determination to persevere in meeting the goals that matter most to you. May God continue to be with you and in the life that lies before you, just as God has been with you from the day of your birth, which I can still remember, until this moment. May it be God's will that you continue to grow in body and spirit, in wisdom and humility, in the love of all creatures, in faithfulness and courage, surrounded by your beloved family. And may you always be regarded as gracious and wise in the eyes of God and all humanity. And let us all say together here in this sanctuary and on Zoom and on live stream, all together say, Amen.
Amen.
And I want to bless you now. These words that I just said to you, Kate, I wrote these words this week, but now I'm going to bless you with some words of blessing that are literally the most ancient words of blessing that we as a people possess. Yivarchech Adonai v'yishmerech, Ya'er Adonai panav elayich v'chunech, Yisa Adonai panav elayich v'yasem lach, Shalom. If I could, I would give you a super big hug and a kiss, which would probably embarrass you anyway, so maybe it's just as well. Yeshar koch mazal tov, you did a beautiful job. So we are going to continue now with the end of the Torah service. A Hallelujah can be found on page 221 or page 570. Hallelujah et Shem Adonai, ki nizkav shemo levado.
הודו על ארץ ושמיים, וירם קרן לעמו, תהילה לכל חסידיו, לבני ישראל, עם קרובו, הללויה, הללויה. יעץ חיים היא, למחזיקים בה, ותומכיה מאושר דרכיה, דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש ימינו כקדם.
Kate, you may join your parents as we continue with the afternoon service. Yeah, you can go sit with your mom and dad. You're good. We're going to continue with Chatzi Kaddish, which is on page 222 or page 570 in Sim Shalom. If you are able, please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach chiruteh, ve'amlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayedecho bet Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv, v'imru amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevorach, לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה.
יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן.
We continue with the afternoon Amidah. It can be found on page 223 or on page 574. And we'll say the beginning out loud together. We're going to face Jerusalem, which is this way. And then there will be silent time where you can say the formal prayers, or you can use the time for whatever prayers or musings are in your own heart. Amidah, page 223. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Koneh Hakol v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Goel Livnei V'nehem L'Ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Foked U'Moshir U'Magen, Baruch Ata Adonai Magen Avraham U'Foked Sarah, Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye Metim Ata Rav L'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechaye Metim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim U'Rufei Cholim U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato L'Shenei Afar, Mi Chamocha Bal Gevurot U'mi Domelach, Melech Memit U'Mechaye U'Matzmiach Yeshua, V'Ne'eman Ata L'Chayot Metim, Baruch Ata Adonai Mechaye HaMetim.
לקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר,
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו.
לעומתם ברוך יאמרו,
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו.
ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור,
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור, הללויה.
לדור ודור, נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. אתה אחד. יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל.
Be seated. We continue with Kaddish Shalem on page 230 or page 596. יתגדל ויקדש שם הרבה בעלמא דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי חון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך
וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה על שמי דקודשה בריחו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושילתה תוש וכתה ונחמת אדם בידם בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
תתקבל סלטון ובעטון לכל ישראל קדם אבוהם בישמעי ואמרו אמן.
יש אלמה רבה מנשמעי וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו amen. We continue with Aleinu on 231 or 598. Please rise if you're able.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שאומרת השמיים ויוסד הארץ כמו שבשמיים על שכינת וזו ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We are going to continue with Mourner's Kaddish, which is on page 232 or page 600. Anyone who is in mourning or observing a yard side, please remain standing, but everyone else may be seated. Page 232 or page 600, Mourner's Kaddish. Oh, and we're going to let people unmute, correct, Ari?
Yeah, if people are...
If anybody is a mourner and would like to unmute themselves on the Zoom, you're welcome to join us so we can hear your voice. Mourner's Kaddish 232. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh. B'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayeh d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירם בעלמה ואמרו אמן יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. In a moment, we're going to begin Havdallah, but here's what I want to do first. I'm going to ask Julia and Darren and Kate, why don't you guys all come up where you're on camera? Come on up. You don't need to bring, I don't think you need to bring your siddur, because the words to Havdallah are up there. And before we say Havdallah, when you're actually on camera, and Justin, wherever you are, can you make sure that the camera's on the three of them? You can say hi to everybody now. All the hard work is over. Wave to the people that love you. They will see you now, correct? They're on camera now? Okay, so there's everybody. I wanted you to have a chance to do that. Okay, you can also wave to the people in the balcony that you love. There are many people who love you in the balcony. They may be masked, but that has not dampened their enthusiasm and love for you. We have 3 grandparents, an aunt and uncle, and some cousins, and a very dear friend. Okay, we're going to end this service with Havdallah. Havdallah is a service of separation. It separates Shabbat from the rest of the week, but it's very apropos at this moment because this is a moment of separation of the first 13 years of Kate's life and now her amazing march into awesome adulthood, which begins tonight. Darren's going to hold the candle, correct? Julia's going to hold the spices, and Kate's going to hold the Kiddush cup. Do I have it right?
I guess so.
Yeah? Okay. Are we lowering the lights, or we're not bothering because we can't see anything?
We'll lower the lights.
Okay.
Not all the lights are going to be lowered, but some of the lights are going to be lowered.
Okay, and Havdallah is on page 283 or page 700. So we're going to begin with an introduction that Arya and I are going to lead, and then Kate is going to join us. Well, let me get to the right place here. Darren can light the candle whenever, as soon as you're ready.
כי עוזי וזמרת יעד וששון ממעייני הישועה לאדוני הישועה על עמך ברכתך סלע אדוני צבאות עמנו משגב לנו אלוהי יעקב סלע אדוני צבאות אשרי אדם בוטח בך אדוני הושיע המלך יעננו ביום קורנו ליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה וששון ויקר כן תהיה לנו ישועות תשא ובשם אדוני אקרא
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא
Smell the spices.
Smell the spices.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא מאורי האש בורא מאורי האש
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המבדיל בין קודש לחול בין אור לחושך בין ישראל לעמים בין יום השבי לששת ימי המעשה ברוך אתה אדוני המבדיל בין קודש לחול
You can extinguish the candle now.
המבדיל בין קודש לכל חטאותינו עם כל זרענו וכספנו ילווה וירווה כחול, וככוכבים בלילה. זרענו וכספנו ירווה כחול, וככוכבים בלילה. אליהו הנביא, אליהו התשבי, אליהו, אליהו, אליהו הגלעדי, במהרה בימינו יבוא אלינו, עם משיח בן דוד, עם משיח בן דוד. שבוע טוב, שבוע טוב, שבוע טוב, שבוע טוב, שבוע טוב, שבוע טוב, שבוע טוב ומזל טוב.
So before we conclude, I realize there's one person that's here that I forgot to mention, and that's Elizabeth. And we could not forget Elizabeth because she played such an incredibly important role in helping to raise Kate. So Mazal Tov to everybody who's here. Mazal Tov, Kate, you did such a beautiful job. We're so
Mazal
proud of
Tov.
you.
ולבשמים נפשי מייחלה, אם תיתנו לי כוס יין להבדלה. So in a minute we'll stop the streaming, but we'll continue with the Zoom. So those of you who are in Zoom and you want to unmute, you will be able to do that in a minute. But Shavua Tov to everybody who was in the live stream. לנר ולבשמים נפשי מייחלה, אם תיתנו לי כוס יין להבדלה, אם תיתנו לי כוס יין להבדלה, אם תיתנו לי כוס יין להבדלה. Shavua Tov, and those of you who are VJ members, actually, if you're not a VJ member and you want to be for Arvit, you will find in the VJ website the link to the evening service, which is starting in 2 minutes. Shavua Tov.